Liv Larson and Eva von Braun, Bahr, excuse me, early morning. Congratulations on your Oscar nomination for A Man Called Ove. It's your second consecutive nomination for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So you guys are getting to be pros at this. How did it feel when you got the news that you'd been nominated this year?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, you see the names read, and then, I mean, obviously you know that they're going to announce the nominees because you were shortlisted, so that you know that you have a chance of a nomination, but still you feel like, oh, it's just so scary, I don't want to watch it, I want to do something else. But then, I mean, you would still look at your watch because you know that they are going to read the nominations. So we were super excited. We were really happy. We did not expect it since we were nominated last year, but it was fantastic. Everybody was screaming, shouting, running around, and behaving really strangely.
Well, tell us a little bit about your experiences last year going to the Oscars when you were nominated for The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is so surreal for us being, I mean, Swedes from this small film country. We don't have a lot of films coming to the States. So the whole thing last year was something that we really thought of like once in a lifetime experience. So that was really, really strange when it happened this year as well. So I think it still is, I mean, last year is still surreal for us. It's really, that wouldn't happen. And now this, it's like lightning strike twice in the same spot. It's like, no, it just can't happen.
Well, congratulations again. Let's talk a little bit about you. What was that?
We were also competing with Swedish movies. I mean, it's not like as if we worked on American movies, you know, the big budget movies, but we're competing with those small movies and also always up against the giants.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations again. It's well deserved. Let's talk a little bit about your work on A Man Called Ove. Like The 100-Year-Old Man, you have to do some aging makeup. So I guess you two are becoming like the go-to makeup artists for films about Swedish geriatrics.
Yeah. I mean, Rolf, the actor who plays Ove, he's actually kind of the same age as the character Ove in the film. But Rolf looks so much younger. So when the director told us that he was the one to play Ove, we really thought we had a problem, because no one would think he is this grumpy man that lives in this suburb or this small town in Sweden. So we looked at politicians and other kind of boring people, boring Swedes, to find something. What is it that makes them look to be this? Like, and I mean, what we realized was it was the hair. Rolf has this big mane of hair with a hairline that goes like really, really low. Mm-hmm. So we had to get rid of that. So it wasn't intended to be like a prosthetic makeup, but it ended up be our only chance to make Rolf into Ove.
And also the producers and the director and Rolf even, they didn't, we showed them, Luva made some Photoshop sketches of Rolf without the hair, and we showed that to Hannes and Rolf, and they were like, oh my god, this is Ove. But I think the producers, they did not count that a prosthetic makeup into the budget, so they were like, they thought that we could use Rolf as he looked, but when they saw the sketches, they were like, no, this is Ove. We really need to do this. So that's how we ended up with the prosthetic makeup.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the prosthetic. It's very subtle, you know, a lot more subtle than when you had to turn a 70-year-old man into a 100-year-old man.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's basically, I think most Swedes are used to see Rolf in a little goatee with his big thick mane of blonde hair, and basically what we ended up, we did back of his head. So I mean, half of him was covered in a prosthetic piece. That included the forehead with a little bit of wrinkles and everything. But it was mostly just to get rid of the hair. But that really changed the look of him. We also made him a couple of moles because he had to match a younger actor that we had in this film that played him in his younger stages, and gave him brown contact lenses. And on top of the prosthetic, we had to do new eyebrows as well. So, I mean, it's not that much in the face, but all this made him look so much older and different from the actor.
And then we also punched the hair into the silicone piece, so he will get this thinning gray hair to make him look older.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think what's so interesting about what you're describing here, I mean, Rolf, the actor, is a much more vibrant personality than grumpy old Ove. So, I mean, it's all these makeup designs really do help inform the character. It's not just about aging. It's about the kind of person that he is.
Absolutely. And that was our only drive, to kind of make him into Ove. Not to make him older. So, and all this, I mean, ended up being a prosthetic makeup that made him look older. But, you know.
But I also think that Rolf, the makeup did really help Rolf, because he looks the same in every single movie. So he was very excited about the makeup. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm turning into someone else." So I think that also really helped him getting into the character.
Yeah.
So take us through the day by day of in the morning, applying the makeup, and then throughout the shoot, making sure that everything is consistent and lines up with continuity, and you know, what the process is like.
I mean, the makeup application was 2.5 hour makeup in the morning. And that was, I mean, that is one part. But I think the tricky part on this film, because, I mean, the last film we did that got nominated, The 100-Year-Old Man, he's covered completely in silicone prosthetics. And you have nothing of the actor's own skin showing through. But with Rolf, he's only half covered in prosthetics. So then you have the rest of his own skin natural, and we didn't cover that because we wanted everything to be as natural looking as possible, because no one else in this film has a makeup that is this elaborate. So we ended up matching the prosthetic to Rolf's skin instead of just covering everything. If we would have covered everything, we would have been pretty safe, because then if Rolf were running or doing something, his skin wouldn't turn red because it was covered with makeup. But we wanted everything natural. So when he did something physical, or, you know, running or doing something like that, Rolf's own skin turned like bright red, and the prosthetic stayed
the
same color. So we had to really kind of, during the day, go in on top of the prosthetic and turn that redder, and then in the next scene, maybe he was sitting in his house having breakfast, and then the prosthetic will be very red, but Rolf had then turned back to his normal skin tone. So then we had to go in onto the prosthetic and neutralize all the red, putting in the greens and making everything look like it was. So much happy than, for example, The 100-Year-Old Man.
You froze up there for a second. Could you repeat that last part? I just didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, I mean, this makeup was in a way much more trickier to maintain during the day, because we had to do all these makeup corrections than, for example, the 100-year-old man. Because when we did the 100-year-old man, once were finished in the mornings, even though that was a 4.5-hour makeup, he was pretty much good to go the whole day. I mean, we had to correct things during the day and maintain everything, but his own skin wouldn't change. So this thing was, in a way, much more trickier to do than the 100-year-old man.
And it's also that in Sweden, we don't have any money to do adjustments on the makeups after the film has been shot. I mean, we don't have a budget for that. So you have to be really on your toes, because what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Right. So with these 2 Oscar nominations, you 2 have very good taste in material, I guess you can say. What is it that attracts you to the films that you decide to take on?
I think that it's mostly, I mean, we're pretty much offered the films that we get because we have to work, and there's not much of a film industry in Sweden. So it's a big part of it is just luck. But then I think what really attracts us in a project is to do something that scares you a little bit when you go into a territory that you're not really comfortable in. That is often the films that gets most rewarding. That you wake up in the morning and you think, oh my God, how are we gonna pull this off? Are we gonna ruin this film for everyone? Or that is really a good feeling, because then you have to be on your very best, and that is, I mean, you want to do those kind of movies. You don't want to do the thing when you feel very comfortable. I mean, in Sweden we do a lot of crime stories, and it's mostly like a bullet hole or a bruise or something like that. Those are, I mean, we've done that 100 times, so it's not a challenge. I think these are the kind of makeups that really makes you feel like, yes, this is what we're doing this for.
Well, maybe for your next challenge, you should try turning an 80-year-old man into a 20-year-old man.
Yeah,
that is tricky, though.
go the opposite way there. Well, congratulations again. It was nice talking to you again. Maybe we can do this every year, knock on wood. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good one.